And now, the general weather around Alaska.
This weather graphic, we've got winter storm warning and blizzard warnings out for the Yukon Delta, lower Yukon Valley, there, eastern Norton Sound, southern coast of the Seward Peninsula, Golovin, White Mountain over to Nome, and winter weather advisories for St. Lawrence Island and the northern, or the Bering Strait coast here, as well as the western Arctic coast area. Also winter weather advisory out for snow and blowing snow for the Alaska Peninsula here in Bristol Bay. And then to the east, wind advisories remain out for Delta Junction, gusts 50 miles an hour, and also wind advisories there in the mountains north of Fairbanks for gusts to 50 miles per hour from the south and southeast. And moving to the satellite, you can see a lot of clear skies here over the northeast Pacific into the Gulf of Alaska. A few clouds here off the North Gulf Coast, and then a lot of mid and high level clouds streaming eastward here as the clouds come from south to north, kind of rotating up and over this area, big area of high pressure there over the Canadian coast and Northwest Territories. And surges keep coming northward, and it keeps the snow going here over the west coast areas. Kind of a break here over the Pribilof Islands today. And then a weak system here bringing some light rain and snow in toward Adak today with main low center north of Shimia. And rolling this again, you can see this area shifting northeastward, another storm down here, another surge of moisture coming up into the southwest part of the state. And on the chart, here's the trough here that's creating the fuss out along the western areas here from the Alaska Peninsula up across the southwest interior, all the way up in across the Brooks Range, the western North Slope, central Arctic coast. Very light snow up in this area. More significant as you head southward here into the Yukon Delta, Kuskokwim Delta, and the Bristol Bay area, seeing some gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour out of the north on the west side of this trough axis. More of an easterly wind here on the east side. In fact, King Salmon, lower 40s this afternoon with that downsloping east wind there. Some moisture into Kodiak. A lot of sunshine, variable mid and high level clouds moving across south central Alaska today, but mostly sunny skies. Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, all of the Panhandle into the central and western Gulf of Alaska and northward there up into the Yukon Flats area. This weak system out to the west, bringing some snow showers and areas of light snow or rain here into the western Aleutians. Nothing really significant. And for tonight, that kind of drifts and drags across Adak there, keeping some light snow showers going in that area. And another low kind of moves up here toward the Alaska Peninsula with that front, and that keeps periods of rain for Kodiak Island, cutting off right around Fognak Island there. So Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula staying dry with some variable clouds, much like we saw today, and mostly clear skies, light winds, and cool temperatures in some areas. Kind of a big range in temperatures depending on your elevation and whether you have wind or not here, especially in the Alaska Range. But dry for the Panhandle continues, and periods of snow here in the west. And then on the chart here, that's the warm front associated with an intense storm that begins to come on the chart for Friday afternoon. That's going to bring good storm force winds into the western Aleutians to about Amchitka Island tomorrow afternoon, 50 to 55 knot winds with that, with increasing precipitation. But high pressure keeps the winds light here over the central Aleutians, comparatively light, and up in toward the Pribilofs. And then it stays windy with snow showers for the eastern Aleutians, but this trough moving farther to the west now, right along the coast and just north of the Alaska Peninsula there. So lighter winds, more of an easterly flow, more of a mixture of precipitation here for Bristol Bay, and still periods of rain, Kodiak Island, heaviest in the south, cutting off again somewhere around Fognak Island there, leaving Kachemak Bay, Kamishak Bay dry with cloudy skies in across probably up to about Seward. And then losing the clouds as you head north. Another very nice day in the interior. Wind advisory should be over for Delta Junction and the White Mountains tomorrow with much lighter winds in store for that area. And should see a fair amount of sunshine as well. And same thing for the Panhandle. Another sunny day coming up there with dry conditions and light winds, highs in the 40s. And for Saturday, got some moisture pushing in toward the Panhandle. So be a few more clouds there and a chance of rain along the coastal areas. And that southeast flow, actually this front here, and the low pulls back to the west into about this position. This is another low that comes up from the south, which is off the chart there. It almost looks like the same one, but it's not. This front lifts up and dissipates here along the southeast coast, Gulf of Alaska here. Southeast flow bringing increasing clouds and probably some rain and snow into the Seward area, southern Kenai Peninsula, Homer, Seldovia. Wet for Kodiak Island, increasing snow on the eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range. Western Prince William Sound, Whittier, definitely looking at a wet day there. And just a chance of some moisture for the Yakutat area. Stays dry over the eastern interior here, but clouds starting to increase over all of southern Alaska, south of the Alaska Range as the high pressure areas start to pull off to the east. And this trough of low pressure, very persistent here, keeping snow going from the western Arctic coast. Also look for an increase in those northeast winds up in that area there. Probably gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour with this kind of gradient there, but less wind as you come southward, but still snow and rain mixed down into the Kuskokwim Delta. Rain for the most part now for Bristol Bay and the Alaska Peninsula. And this front elongating out from the center, weakening, so that'll bring some rain and snow into the eastern Aleutians, Pribilof Islands, but winds not much of a factor with that front. But still, good storm force winds now into Adak, or good gales into Adak and Atka with storm force winds again, 50 to 55 knots out over the western Aleutians. Low temperatures for tonight up along the Arctic coast, anywhere from 5 to 10 or 15 below for the north slope, but higher elevations, the Brooks Range staying above zero, back below zero in the Yukon Flats, and areas of the east side here. Otherwise, anywhere from 5 to 20 over the interior, and 15 to 20, or in the 20s here over the western and southwest part of the state, to lower 30s for the Bristol Bay zone, upper 30s Kodiak, lower 20s for the Pribilofs, and 25 to 30 for the Aleutians. Lows mostly in the 20s here for much of the Panhandle. And then the highs tomorrow, 45 to 50 southern southeast coast, and in the lower to mid 40s elsewhere, all the way up to Haines, Skagway, Yakutat. Lower 40s for the North Gulf Coast, Kodiak Island, and in the 30s, 30-35 south central Alaska. Teens for the Copper River Basin. And again, quite a variation here over interior Alaska, anywhere from 8 degrees to lower 20s. And then more near or below zero for the north slope in the Arctic coast, mid-20s there for the Pribilofs, and in the mid-30s for the Aleutians, upper 30s for the Alaska Peninsula. Lows on Saturday morning, a little chillier here in the west central part of the state, down into the single numbers, but still above zero. Yukon Flats, anywhere from 5 to 10 below up to Arctic Village, and now 10 to 20 below for the north slope, and teens below zero for the Arctic coast. Lows in the 10 to 25 degree range, south central Alaska, and upper 30s over Kodiak Island, and upper 20s to mid 30s for the Panhandle. That'll be followed by highs, 45 to 50 again for the southern southeast coast, even with the more clouds that'll be coming in, and upper 40s to the north with teens for the Copper River Basin. Highs right around freezing, south central Alaska, 15 to 20 up in the Tanana Valley, colder up along the Arctic coast. Lower 30s for the Pribilofs, and 35 to 40 out over the Aleutians.